Hello everyone, the date is the 7th of March 2024, and today I'm going to talk about when our thoughts and our feelings become imbalanced. So we essentially have two centers within us, the thinking center and the feeling center. These are both distinctly different entities from each other, but at the same time are inextricably linked to each other. Sometimes they are both on the same page, they want the same things and they share the same beliefs, and sometimes they conflict. Quite often, in fact, they conflate. But whether they push and pull against each other or work collaboratively with each other, they nonetheless influence each other throughout our lives. Now, sometimes one of these centers can be so strong that it influences the other one so much that it pulls it in the same direction, like a magnet, and overpowers and saturates it. An example of how the thinking centre can overpower the feeling centre is in the case of organised movements that people are members of that have a particular clearly defined belief system. Some examples of these are religions, cults, and political groups. In such cases, ideas, stories, and beliefs that have been impressed upon people, particularly if from an early age, create feelings that are so strongly felt that the subject who takes them on board feels strong feelings of pride, love, hate, or in the case of religion, sometimes a state of religious ecstasy. An example of how the feeling centre can overpower the thinking centre is when we are in love. The state of being in love engenders such powerful feelings that it influences our thinking centre into believing that a person is more perfect than they actually are, and that we share common similarities with that person that do not necessarily exist in real life. If that person is being dishonest or disingenuous with us, although other people might clearly see it, we, on the other hand, might be more likely to defend them, our thinking centre not being able to see what other people can see. Years later, after we may be separated from that person and the feelings of love have subsided, we then see the stark reality behind the filter of perfection that we once saw that person through. Another example is when someone with schizophrenia believes that people might be trying to kill them or even following them as they walk in the community. The feeling of paranoia may be so strong, may be so powerful that the person believes it to be true despite there being no evidence of it or even evidence to the contrary. In such a case, the feelings are so strong that it takes control over the mind. And there are other examples. So, let's say our wife or husband is late from work and we don't hear from them. A person who is subject to feelings of anxiety might assume that our loved one has been killed in a car accident. A person who is subject to feelings of jealousy might assume that the loved one is having an affair. Here we have examples of strong innate feelings influencing our thoughts. The reality was that the loved one got stuck in traffic and due to an accident on the motorway, and the mobile phone went flat. But depending on which emotional state we are prone to, this intense emotional state will cloud our thinking and make us perceive reality through a filter which makes it skewed. In an ideal world, what should happen is that the thinking center and the emotional center should be working as a team and be balanced. But the reality is that sometimes they are imbalanced, and it's important for the sake of harmonious communication with other people, particularly loved ones, and the understanding of one another in general, that we question our reality and examine the facts before we jump to conclusions.